Hey everyone, it's Mystery Girl with Missy, and I'm Missy. Guys, it's been a while. I am so sorry, but I have been working on these videos for over 6 months. I want to welcome you to Mystery Girl with Missy's 2-part series. This is section 1 of the series, which led to something I never knew about, leading to the creation of the second part of this series. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers for all of your support. It truly means so much to me. Thank you so much. And I also want to welcome all of my new followers. Thank you so much for your support. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now. This video does include information on a World War II hospital, so it may be triggering for some. And there is also a trigger warning that the following video contains material that may be traumatizing for some audiences. This video is intended for audiences 18 and over. I do have up my fair use disclaimer for photos that I have used in the video. This video, and actually the whole entire series contains extremely sensitive information and images. If there are children in the room while playing this series, please have them leave the room. This video and the series may be traumatizing to some. I have worked with medically frail children and children with autism for over 10 years. Since my very first day working with these amazing children, they all stole my heart. On my very first day of training, we had to watch a video. This video broke my heart, and that's why it's very hard for me to make this series. Some of the individuals in this video were now residents at the company I would be working for, which was an amazing company, by the way. I swear, when I left there, I cried and I told them I was going to send a flatbed so we can bring the residential house to Florida. It was such an amazing company. But after watching that video and now knowing what some had gone through before coming to my new employer, I was so brokenhearted. I have wanted to make this video series for a long time. I knew it would be a hard one, and it definitely was. This place that some of our residents came from was Willowbrook State School. So everyone, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into it. So everyone, I want to welcome you to my series, Willowbrook State School, The Scandals and Controversy Behind It, Part 1, Halloran General Hospital. So we're going to take a trip to Halloran General Hospital, which is located in New York, Willowbrook, Staten Island, New York, to be exact. Willowbrook was a state-supported institution for children with intellectual disabilities that was located in the Willowbrook neighborhood of Staten Island in New York City from 1947 to 1987. It was officially closed in 1988. By 1965, it was the largest state-run mental institution of its kind in the United States. So I have up a map here so you can see exactly where Willowbrook is located in Staten Island. I'm not really familiar with Staten Island. I always thought it was a garbage dump. So knowing that there was actually property there and buildings and hospitals and houses, I feel stupid saying it, but I didn't know that. So here is a map for those who are familiar with Staten Island. In 1938, plans were drawn up to build a facility for children who had intellectual disabilities on 375 acres, that's a lot of land, in the Willowbrook section of Staten Island. Construction was completed in 1942. but instead of opening for its original purpose, it was converted into a U.S. hospital, an Army hospital, and named Halloran General Hospital. The hospital was named after the late Colonel Paul Stacy Halloran. After World War II, proposals were introduced to turn the site over to the Veterans Administration, but in October 1947, the New York State Department of Mental Hygiene opened its facilities there as originally planned, and the institution was named Willowbrook State School. The school was designed for 4,000 residents, but by 1965, its population was approximately 6,000 residents. So it was built for 4,000 and had 6,000. That right there shows you where this is going. As the school was nearing completion, the Army took over the facility in September of 1942, modifying it by adding numerous facilities, adding a surgery wing, 3.5 miles of covered, heated walkways to connect all of the buildings, a Red Cross auditorium that could seat 1,200, labs for the fabrication of artificial eyes and limbs, a vast food service complex that could prepare meals for special diets as well as serve 93,000 meals per month. Yes, I said 93,000 meals. That's crazy. That's a lot of food. At least they were feeding them. A sophisticated phone system that included jacks at the patient's beds. So think of that. We now walk around with phones in our hands. And back then, when Halloran was being built, they were lucky if they even had a jack for a phone at their bed. Things have come a long way. Wow. The buildings had a capacity of 1,500 beds. The hospital was activated as an Army post on October 19th, 1942. Now remember, Edgewood, also known as Mason General Hospital on Long Island, was commandeered by the War Department around the same exact time. Now, if you watched my Pilgrim State Psychiatric Hospital video, which I'll link in the description area below in case you haven't seen it, but if you have seen it, you will remember that Edgewood was built in 1942, and it was a 13-story high building on the 1,000-acre land of Pilgrim State Psychiatric Hospital in Brentwood, New York. Edgewood was the property of the War Department with 700 to 900 beds. Edgewood was also commandeered by the War Department. It wasn't built specifically for it. So these two buildings were both taken over by the War Department. The building was originally known as Mason General Hospital during the war and was later transferred back to the state, with it then being called Edgewood Hospital after the war ended. So the weird connection here is that both of the hospitals, Brentwood, New York and Willowbrook, New York, both were taken over by the War Department, and they were both given different names. So Willowbrook was once known as Halloran General Hospital when it was taken over by the war, and then after the war it was back to Willowbrook. And Mason General Hospital in Brentwood, New York was also known as Edgewood Hospital. So it's weird that they both were under different names, and then they changed the names, and then when these buildings were taken over, they were horror stories of abuse and horror stories of neglect. So after World War II, everything just went crazy in these buildings, and the stories that you're about to hear, again, I'm putting this warning out, this is going to get very sensitive. Okay, not so much about the soldiers, but with Halloran, but when we move on to when the building came back to Willowbrook. Now, Edgewood in Brentwood was eventually knocked down. It was knocked down on August 16th of 1989. And again, for more information on Pilgrim State Psychiatric Hospital in Edgewood, watch my Pilgrim State video. It's going to bring a lot of this together, so it's definitely worth the watch. And again, I'm going to put it in the description. Before we continue, I just want to give photo credit to the postcard that I'm using for Halloran General. It was a drawn postcard in color of Halloran General Hospital, Stapleton, Staten Island, New York in 1900. From the New York Public Library, photo by Smith Collection, Getty Images. The following photos are from Getty Images, and I'm using a fair use disclaimer. Okay, so back to Halloran General Hospital. Halloran received its first wounded soldier on November 5th, 1942. Soon after, the decision was made to double the capacity to 3,000 beds, making the facility one of the largest receiving hospitals in the United States. The school was designed for 4,000 residents originally. An additional 3,500 beds was stockpiled and capacity reserved for them should an emergency or a disaster make them necessary. So that's 6,500 beds for a facility designed for 4,000. By 1965, when it was the Children's Hospital, Halloran gave patients preliminary care and classified them for transfer to other hospitals who specialized in their type of injury or that were closer to their hometowns to receive treatment. The hospital also treated soldiers from the 2nd Service Command, New York, New Jersey, and Delaware for injuries and illnesses that could not be adequately cared for in local station hospitals. Patients were processed at a rate of 2,500 per day. A POW camp was located on the grounds, providing a supply of manual laborers to support hospital activities. The hospital became known for developing innovative techniques for physical therapy, occupational therapy, and studies on the use of penicillin, and I'm going to say this one wrong, streptomycin. I believe that's how it's pronounced. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. The Army released Halloran to the VA, which is the Veterans Administration, on January 1st of 1947. By January 1st of 1950, Halloran VA Hospital had 1,500 patients and a staff of 1,600 and offered specialized wards for geriatrics and, I'm going to say this one too, wrong, neuropsychiatry, I hope I said that right, and the treatment of paraplegics and patients with tuberculosis. The political battle to keep Halloran as a VA hospital failed due to the insistence of the state of New York that the campus be returned to its original purpose, a state-supported institution for children with mental and intellectual disabilities. On March 16, 1950, the Veterans Administration announced the closure of Halloran effective on June 30th, 1950. The date was later revised to December 31st of 1952 to coincide with the expected completion of a new VA hospital in Lower Manhattan. Willowbrook actually began housing developmentally disabled population in the 1930s. So during the same time that the veterans were there was children also in the hospital. It was a huge hospital. So Willowbrook on October of 1947 admitted 20 mentally disabled patients, and Willowbrook closed its doors in 1987, which we're going to get into all of that. But you all know that I like to give a little bit of background, and I want to thank every single one of our World War II veterans for your services, you and your families. From everything that I read, it really looked like the treatment to the servicemen that were there was great treatment. It's only after the fact that the treatment changed, and it's pretty sad what they had to go through. I hope you do take the time to, on your own time, to stop and pause the video and go back and look at some of these photos that I posted, where, you know, it shows stuff that's actually from the U.S. Army. It's really interesting to look at. I'm gonna read this one. I was so touched, by all of this stuff that's in here. I couldn't believe that I was able to find so many photos. It says, surprise, that boomeranged. Staten Island, New York. Intending to surprise his wife with a Christmas phone call, Private Donat Cartier, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, gets hit with a surprise himself, and he hears coming over the wire from Derry NH the voice of his 10-week-old son for the first time. Donat is one of the wounded heroes recuperating at Halloran General Hospital. That's so touching, and I can't believe that I was able to find this stuff. So again, I have my fair use disclaimer up. Now, Willowbrook, this is the Willowbrook Mile. I'm making sure that I'm posting the photographer down on the below to give the credit. Guys, go back and take a look at all of this, okay? And I really hope you enjoyed this. We're really going to be getting into some sensitive information soon, so remember the cautions I'm putting out there. I want to thank you for joining me. I'm going to see you in the next part. And again, don't forget to check out the Pilgrim State video. And as always, remember, every day is a mystery. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I almost forgot to ask.